What is going on, everybody? Brent Abel right here, goldballhunting.com. Another episode of the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. I believe this is number 347. Wowza. That dude over there, the great Jeff Jacklich. Again, incognito, no idea what part of the West, the state, maybe even
Western Hemisphere.
Interplanetary things are spinning around.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Oh, okay. Well, it is the day after Christmas. It's December 26th, Boxing Day in Canada. And by the way,
hey,
Boxing Day. There's a lot of theories on why the Canadians call it Boxing Day. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the sweet science.
No, maybe they're boxing up all their gifts that they want to return.
That's one of the theories. I don't know about the returning part, but maybe it's the unboxing day. Anyway, hey. I'm sure we've got plenty of smart Canadians out there listening to the podcast. Just drop a little comment down below. Enlighten the rest of us morons as to what it means. And I mean that,
yes.
Something. I mean, I'm pointing at myself when I say moron. So
yeah.
No one take it personally, please. All right.
Just a couple knuckleheads here talking about tennis and occasionally Boxing Day.
Make tennis great again. All right. So where's my hat? Okay. No, again, we're not going political. All right.
Easy.
Jeepers. Wow. I'm just getting off on all right. Anyway. So, guys, interesting episode for you today. Pretty sure. Hang in there with us because I think you're gonna like what Jeff's got for us today.
So the big question is this: how are tennis players like us who never played on the tour, weren't incredible juniors, or maybe got a late start to the game? How do we consistently compete at our highest skill level without having to grind through endless hours of on-court practice time and still be in the hunt for the victory match after match? That is the question, and Gold Ball Hunting gives you the answers by helping you eliminate your skill level range so that you build a strong foundation of confidence. My name is Jeff Jacklich, and along with Brent Abel, my partner, welcome to Gold Ball Hunting.
All righty, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Another episode of the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. Jeffrey,
yeah,
you're somewhere in California. I'm not going to pinpoint and ask you where you are, or have you divulge that information, because I know you're so popular now that it's one of those problems. You got to do Christmas shopping. You're just driving around and people are honking and kind of going,
"Oh my god!
Oh my god! It's the guy from Gold Ball Hunting. It's Jeff Jacklich. Yeah. Could I take a little selfie with you? Could I get a little autograph?"
Yeah, it's starting to get messy. So the paparazzi is just, really starting to become an issue. So, I got hats, I got mustaches, I got costumes, I got stuff to get from, point A to point B. I tell you, it's a hassle.
Gotta be rough.
Anyway,
right?
Anyway, a quick shout out.
Yeah.
For this was my my Christmas present from Leora. So Leora, I'm making good use of it. It is my favorite holiday cup now.
I'll bet it becomes more than just a holiday. I'll bet you we start seeing that in like April.
So Leora, we're going to make 2020
incredible.
It's going to be the bomb.
Oh, baby. Man, I can't wait to see that. Well, listen, you're heading up to Moraga today, and we're heading down. We're heading across.
Well, it's kind of northwest slightly.
Okay.
Slightly.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm excited because I get to meet Lovey today.
Yeah. Oh, man, she's just full of herself. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. New little puppy in the house, guys. Rescue dog we got from Tony LaRussa's ARF Animal Rescue Foundation here in the East Bay, the Walnut Creek area. My founder, God, not that long ago. What, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks, yeah.
And she did a little video. I just said, get her. Get her out of there. Yes. So we were lucky. I mean,
it's a Christmas miracle.
Well, and she had a sister. There were two of them, I guess. And the sister got adopted earlier in the day. And so here's Lovey all by herself, just kind of going, all right, I got to really ratchet up the cute factor.
Really right put it on today, right?
Whoa. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, You get to meet her today, Jeff. She's awesome. She's a lot of fun. Yeah, we get to go get a water heater today.
Yeah. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, because that old water heater is just leaking like a sieve. And I think there's some mushrooms growing out there in the garage now. Hey, how's this episode going so far with the tennis value that we're dropping in everybody?
That's right. Well, this just shows that, life is, still goes on. There's stuff outside of tennis, that has to be handled.
That's right.
For us to be able to bring you this high quality information.
Okay, good.
So today, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about a comment today that you and I are just kind of perusing. And how often do you use the word peruse in your casual everyday?
Yeah,
it's like flummox the other day. I never use it.
I think we're just going to build a great list that we're going to use these words more often in 2020.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, so we were perusing the comments over at YouTube, and Omar had an interesting comment. And I'll tee you up for this thing, Jeff. He mentioned that this was in response to the Maurice Hunter, Mike Tammons edited match with the stats that we posted, I don't know, a few days ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of great comments. And Omar's was really good because he said it was interesting that that Mike, that Mike beats Maurice like a month earlier. Love and
March. It was in March.
Okay, in March. So it was like 6 months.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Right. Beat him love and love somewhere, and then how Maurice comes back and pulls this thing out 11-9 in the super tiebreaker 6 months later. And my response in the comments was, at this level, it's the margins of victory are really thin.
Right.
And thin meaning 11-9 in the super tiebreaker for the third is super thin. But just because Maurice got zipped and zapped 6 months earlier, there's probably a reason why.
Yeah.
Which is not the usual Maurice Hunter. And like it's probably interesting because Mike wins the first 5 games of the match that we watched just the other day. And he must be going, I've won the last 17 games in a row against Maurice.
In a row.
Yes. And so anyway, I guess the point that we want to make is that even if you get thumped one day, that's not a predictor of what's going to happen the next time, unless you let it become so.
Right.
So share a story. I mean, share something. I mean, you must have gotten, or you must have beaten some guy up bad, or you got your hat handed to you, and the next thing you know is you played this guy, and the results were reversed.
Yeah. I mean, the challenge is that as you actually kind of start to get through second and third round matches, you start to play the better players over and over again. It starts to happen more frequently.
The same.
And that isn't. Yeah. And so that is it is a skill, a mental, emotional hurdle that you've got to get over, because it may be the first time you go out there and beat guys. That I can go back in my career and see that you got great win over so-and-so. And then 2 weeks later, the draw is set up and there you go. You got him in the second round where I beat the guy maybe in the semis or finals, a few weeks ago, and then the draw is already made for this next one, and here it is, and for me initially it was like, I don't want to play this guy again, because of that fear of losing to the guy, and not wanting to have to do it again so soon, and going out there and losing the match, and not so much it wasn't tennis oriented, it was my own crap floating around in my head that I didn't want to play the guy again so soon.
Right.
And so I was never quite present in that match to just do the work, put my head down, and do the journeyman work it takes to do that again, and so I can, for me, definitely, in open tennis as I started to actually make some headway and quarter semifinals. And again, I've told the story before where, I went from no ranking in the men's open in NorCal to number 17. And that may not sound like much to anybody, but at that time in NorCal, the depth of play quality was off the charts. And so it was a big deal. And I got I think most improved player of the year that year and all that. And I remember going to that first tournament, what used to be in Carmel at the Hyatt. And it was it was like right around Thanksgiving, I think, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that tournament was the first tournament of the next year. So the season ended in October, the rankings come out, and then the Hyatt tournament, the men's open at the Hyatt, was the first tournament that would count toward next year's ranking. And so I remember walking up to the tournament and seeing my name in red letters. I think I was the 6th seed, and I had to go, what?
I've actually I got to play.
And that was like the major reality check for me. That moment was, oh my gosh, I have to beat all these guys again. And a little panic attack almost, and then, Sherm, my coach, he kind of talked me off the ledge and said, let's just focus on the first match. You're no different today, Jeff, than you were 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago when the rankings came out. You earned that spot. Here we go. So we're just going to focus on round one, and you're going to work your tail off to get through the first round. We don't care about score. We don't do anything, but you're just going to work, keep your head down. We're going to get the work done. Go out there and get through the first round. And so that's what I did. I remember that I can't think of the guy I played, his name. But I remember it was 2-2. But it was one of the toughest 2-2s I ever played. I mean, the match could have been easily, it could have flipped and been in his favor. I just happened to, I caught the big points, lots of deuces, lots of that. And I was able to flip on those big points and get through. So it looked like I thumped the guy. And in reality, it was a very tight match. But that brought me back down to earth and said, all my skills and everything are still here. I have all those skills. Just got through this tough first round match. And so I relaxed then the rest of the way and played really solid ball. Held my seeding. I think I lost maybe lost in the semis there. I forget. But this thing with, Maurice and Mike, that's the reality. The nature of the beast is like, you're going to play these guys, and some days it just, that match with Mike, I don't know what the stats were that Maurice lost 0-0, but how many deuces were they that day? Or maybe not. Maybe Mike actually just stumped him, had a day that he was just
good. Sure, right? Did he? I mean, the first 5 games at the Craven, right? He couldn't use the ball, and Maurice, missed a couple. Now all of a sudden it's love 5.
Right. But I think, for our gold ballers out there, the challenge is that, that result isn't permanent. It is for that day, but it's not for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so going into 2020, it's just be mindful of, if you lose some tight matches early in the season, that's not a predictor of the rest of the year. Are you willing to look back at those matches objectively? And maybe if somebody watched the match, if you're pro, your coach, whoever you're working with, can really assess like what's going on with your game early in the season and what adjustments we can make so we can start to use the season to crescendo at the end of the season and have a great finish to the year. So I think that's a big thing. But that's what you're going to see with the guys that win gold balls and who are always in the hunt for them, is their ability to go back on the court. I just lost to the guy 2 weeks ago, and here we go again. I get to try again, and I get to maybe try a new tactic because the last one obviously didn't work. And so now I'm gonna adjust and do something else, or whatever it might be. But it's welcome to tennis.
If we had an accurate rating system in tennis, which we don't. But let's just say by sheer luck that the NTRP, let's say, has 2 guys rated 4.0, and they just happen to actually be at that same skill level. Well, if those two guys play each other 10 times, in theory, what should happen? One guy should win 5 and the other guy should win 5. Or let's say there's a group of 50 guys, all with 4.0 ratings, and they're literally all at the same skill level. Well, even if it wasn't one guy, but let's say you played 20 matches. Let's say you played 50 matches. Well, it got to be 49 matches, right? Against all 50. Wait a minute. There's 51 guys in this group. There's 51 guys. And so you play 50 matches. Anyway. So in theory, you would go 25 and 25 in theory.
Right.
In theory. So against the group, right? And that would mean that you'd be playing, the other guys. And so, but what it gets down to is that within the group, yeah, you're probably 50-50, but there could be some guys in the group, even though you guys are the same rating label, you might be like 70-30 against that guy.
Right.
And he's like 70-30 against another guy, but you get beat by this third guy.
Right.
So I guess a couple points I want to make is that, look, is that if you're winning a high percentage of your matches, I mean, consistently, tournament after tournament, then you're not in the right skill level group, right? I mean, I'm not going to call you a sandbagger, but what I will tell you is if you're playing the league stuff and your winning percentage is like over 80%, 75-80%, come on, man. Come on, right. So, but they're just certain styles of play. Like there are some guys out there who I've kind of got their number, not 100%, not 100% of the time, but a majority of the time. And there are other guys out there. I just go, God, what? Come on.
Right.
I mean, and it's not 100% because that would be a different rating label.
Right.
But
it is like you're saying though, it is, how do your playing styles match up? Even though you're both exactly a 4.0,
exactly the
same.
How
do your playing styles match up? And your playing styles might match up today that the way I play is just paradise to my opponent. And so the difficulty is finding a different tactic that upsets the apple cart that you can actually produce that might get you over the hump that day.
Look,
but that's the reality of some of those things is the way you match up against certain players. And it doesn't mean you're a different rating. It means you're exactly the same. So when you get into the senior stuff, age group, that's the determining factor. How old are you?
That's right.
Anybody can enter these events.
That's right.
And so then it gets down to how do you match up with these guys? When I played Mike in Palm Springs, I think 2016. We played in the quarters, I think, something like that, at the Wilson. And I think it was 5-6, 4-6. And if I really think about it and go back over that match, I can probably pinpoint about 4 points that made the difference, where I got him up to where I needed him. I could tell I was pressuring him. I could see it, and I couldn't convert that point that would have given me a break point, would have given me, that thing. And it's like, okay, so 5-6, here we go. There, great. That's the deal.
Yeah. Look, guys, I mean, if you're losing 100% of the time to a certain player, then clearly that player is at a different skill level than you are, right? The rating labels are different. If you're beating another player 100% of the time, then clearly you're better. And you guys should not have the same rating label. But here's the reality is, with everything being pretty close, everything being somewhat equal, you are not going to win every time you go out and play. And you've got to be able to relax with that and knowing that that's the way. I mean, Fed has never won every match, right? He loses. But I mean, is there a moment after a loss? I'm sure some losses are tougher than others. I'm sure. Yeah. Losing Wimbledon this year to Novak was just a gut wrencher, but does that actually, maybe for 48 hours he's disappointed, but does that actually knock him off in terms of his confidence. No, because he realizes, look, I can go out and play Novak again. And I mean, the record certainly proves it. I've beaten the guy enough times that
right.
I could probably beat him again. So I just want to make sure that Omar, thank you for bringing that up. But the message that we want to get across to you guys today is that you just can't win 100% of the time. You know, assuming that you're not sandbagging.
Yeah, and don't let that, you know, what you might, you know, score wise say is a bad loss, and just by score wise, not by the opponent, but just by score wise, say it's a bad loss. That's not a predictor of future results. If you adjust your mindset and decide, okay, what's the solution here, or what could be a solution next time I play this guy or gal.
You know, when Mike beat Maurice love, I'm sure there was, who knows, but I'm sure there was something going on with Maurice where he just, you know, maybe an injury, maybe just coming back, whatever it was. But there are a lot of players who would have gone, God dang it. I'm down 6-0, 2-0. I better retire so I have an excuse that I can throw out there to the world. Right. Maurice didn't do that. Maurice realizes that something's going on, and is it possible to get beat by, you know, a peer badly? Sure is. Absolutely. But does that mean that I'm going to give up the game or make excuses? No. I'm going to go out there, just keep working, come back, and I'll beat him 11-9 in the Super TB for the third, right. 6 months later. Well, okay. There you have it. So, all right. Well, listen, we've got 2 one-day training workshops down in the desert coming up. I'm assuming that we're running out of space here. You're sort of gathering all the applications.
And we'll be getting back to everybody very next couple of days probably.
Okay.
You know, with
so what we've got, guys, is each day's got 8 slots, right? We've got we have 2 courts, 8 slots each day, and these are designed as one-day workshops. If you want to do both, that's a possibility. But we really want to help you find out what is it that uniquely about you really is that thing that you're really good at. And maybe it's hard to recognize it because there's so much garbage out there. Well, you got a lag, snap, and wipe all day long. Well, that's just covering up what you do really well. And we want to help you discover what that thing is. And once we find it, we may already know it, but once we find it, let's devise a simple strategy, tactics to help you get in that situation a lot more often.
Yeah.
And once we do that, not that it's a guarantee you'll win the point every time, but your confidence is going to really take a nice hit up here. So, guys, there's 2 right down below this video. There's 2 links. One is the information video that Jeff and I produced a couple of weeks ago. If you've not seen what you're going to get before the workshop, during the workshop, and after the workshop, go watch that video. If you've already seen it or you know you want in, right down below is a second link, which will take you to the application form. We got to make sure that everyone's the right fit for these day training workshops. Jeff, with that said, what do we want the fine folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below, just like you've been doing. It's been awesome. iTunes and Stitcher, rate and review, goldballhunting.com.
Bring it in. Or actually bring it out. Give it out. Yeah. Share it.
Yeah.
Guys, get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Deaf. I was trying to say, anyway,
whatever.
Deaf. We're doing this again tomorrow.
Okay.
Can't wait.